All right, guys, here we go. First one says, hey, Doc, good morning. Can we please talk about the vagus nerve in the neck next week? Sure. It says one that makes you pass out. Oops. I've been dealing with this for a couple of years. I'm injured from fainting. Mine tends to occur mostly while I'm in the bathroom. If I get constipated or this or that and I strain to go, then bang. Can you heal it? Can you do third? What can you do? Okay.
Where's that located?
It's a cranial nerve. It's number 10. Okay, I always remember Elvis in Vegas. Dun-dun-dun. So that's how I always remember in school. I always remember Vegas nerve. It's Elvis. Okay, it's the Elvis nerve. And ironically, it's not far off because it controls respiration a little bit. It affects digestion. It affects blood pressure and things of that nature. And that's what's really happening here. You get a vasovagal syncope, I think is what they call it, where the nerve overreacts and it ends up lowering the pressure too much too fast, and poof, down goes Frazier. So the idea of this thing is that how do you get around it? Now, go on and look up causes, right? What's the cause of an overstimulation of the vagus nerve? Number one cause, stress across the board. That's it, stress. That's what they say, stress. All right, you got your answer. Your nervous system has a short in it somewhere. Go back and look at the basics of things. Remember the triangle I always talk about, that MEN triangle? Mechanical, emotional, nutritional. It's the only stresses there are. There are no others. That's it. So you go back and say, all right, is there a physical thing that is causing my vagus nerve to overstimulate? This individual says, when I'm constipated, when I'm straining my bowel, all of a sudden that pressure increase shuts this bad boy off and down I go. So I think about that, and I'm thinking to myself, all right, there's a pressure issue in the cord. Probably a fluid-based thing, cerebral spinal fluid, which is really lymphatic when you look at the big scheme of it all. And so I start looking and thinking, I bet there's a problem with the pump. And if you clean up the pump, the lymphatic pump, and get that spinal fluid moving properly and a way to drain properly, I bet it would stop. Just from what you told me here. Now, you could look at emotional things, too, that cause the body to tighten up and constrict. And you could also look at nutritional chemical things that cause that problem. You got to look at all of them, right? I can give you my theory on this, but you have to look at all of them. But from what you wrote here and the way you're describing it and how it repeats itself, a mechanical component of it is clearly obvious to me. So I would then go through, free up the mechanical component. I'd run an IUP, see what the body's holding on to, what it's throwing away. And guys, the IUP goes beyond this. It's not just what am I holding on to, what am I throwing away. I can look at the urine test and tell you where you physically are going to be hurting. I can look at the urine test and tell you what your hormones are doing and how your emotions are going to be expressing. I can look at a simple urine test and tell an awful lot about the body because it's a real-time epigenetic profile. That's what it does. In my opinion, it's the single greatest test anybody could run. It lets you know what's happening now. So I'd start there. Run a few tests, treat the body physically, reset the nervous system, and I'll all but guarantee it'll go away. All right, it should be fun, kind of easy.